Yo, space. What you do, boy? You all good, boy. Yeah, man. Life on the road, boy. That's how we do, boy. How we live, buddy. Jim, just on the hook. Opel, sing it.
I be on the road, chillin' with my niggas all day. Yeah, we counting money, nigga, all day. Hoping money rich, nigga pay. But still gon' get a nigga anyway. Chillin' with my niggas all day. Yeah, we counting money, nigga, all day. Hoping money rich, nigga pay. But still gon' get a money on.
Hi everyone, welcome to Businesses That and thank you ladies for honoring my invite.
It's a pleasure.
You're welcome.
So
It's a pleasure.
thank you to you for tuning in. So far we got 2, but I believe it will pick up. So let me formally introduce myself. My name is Muleweng Matipuli. I'm a strategic consultant and the face of Mo Salute and the recent host of Businesses The Chat. So basically, Mo Salute is a company that provides business solutions, strategy sessions, develops business ideas, and creates concepts for projects and programs. So the reason for Businesses The Chat was to network, to talk to different entrepreneurs, find out about their business journeys and challenges. Because part of what I do, it's important for me to find out those 2 things to come up with better solutions in order to help entrepreneurs, and as well as to help promote other people's businesses. And from an entrepreneur to an entrepreneur, I don't know what I can learn from you that will actually help my business out. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce my first guest speaker, Masiko. Would you kindly introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you do?
Thank you so much, Muleweng. Thank you. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be with all of your viewers today. Happy Women's Month to all the women around us in South Africa. Happy Women's Month to the ladies that I'm with in the panel today. My name is indeed Masiko Bunubi. I'm a beauty entrepreneur. I'm a beauty facilitator. I run a company called Chic Beauty. And I like to think of myself as a big sister or a mentor. I do mentor some young people. And one of my proudest or recent highlights of my career is recently having launched my franchise model. But I'm sure we'll get into that. But in essence, that's me. I love God. I love to serve. And I love to serve others. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Our next guest speaker, Yolanda.
Hello, everyone. I'm Yolanda Yawa, originally from Cape Town, Gougouletou, Juge-le-Toi, as we say it in France. And I'm the owner and founder of a black doll brand, Louvutando Dolls, which is based in Cape Town. And I also want to say Happy Women's Month to all the queens, to all the Mbokodos of the world, especially in South Africa. And thank you, Mo, for inviting me to be part of this amazing panel of queens.
All right. And our last speaker for the day is Tukelo.
Hi, I'm Tokelo Motsepe, and I'm your content expert that is the founder of Afro Digital, a content marketing agency that specializes in helping small business owners, actually all business owners, looking to be intentional with building their brands online and connecting with real people and converting them into buyers, or just connecting with people. Our specialty is, building businesses with meaning, with purpose, and being intentional with that. And I love to help entrepreneurs and business owners do just that. That's me.
Awesome. So my next question is, I'd like to find out what inspired you guys to start your business. So, Masako, the floor is yours.
What inspired me? I think inspiration changes every time we grow. But I think in the beginning, to be honest, I wanted financial freedom. But the key thing that I really wanted for myself was freedom of time, because I used to be in corporate, I studied economics, and I worked for a procurement company, and I just didn't have my own time. I just couldn't manage my own schedule. I was told what to do when, what time to arrive at work. The biggest inspiration for me was freedom of time. I wanted to be able to do what I wanted to, when I wanted to, and also financial freedom in the sense that I wanted to be able to accumulate a certain amount of money, during a certain time. I mean, there's nothing wrong with corporate, but when you're still climbing the ladder, or you in your entry level, you work 30 days or 27 days in a week, in a month, and you earn such little money. So I saw an opportunity to create financial freedom. And more than anything, I think once I had started, I realized the need that young women have in South Africa. I mean, I run a PT academy, and for me, I thought, why not share a skill with a young girl, and then they can also have financial freedom. They can also have freedom of time, and now I really just want to go global. I'm doing my best to tackle unemployment. For me, the fact that there are 7 out of 10, let's start in South Africa before we go global, 7 out of 10 young people that are unemployed in the country. That's my inspiration. That makes me get up, because I think that there are jobs in need. I think there are jobs in need, that I need to create more jobs. Yeah. So I think my inspiration has been, I've been inspired, like it's just been changing. And I think next year, my inspiration will be different.
That's amazing. I remember you doing my makeup for the first time at the graduation class. Like that was, I think that was the first time I was introduced to makeup. Like nengala ke mpopo hle lona, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I remember.
Yolanda, uh, you remember? And I was late. Can you believe that?
I remember like it was yesterday. I mean, it was in Renfontaine, and also then I was also very much, I think I was in my third year of business. I was also still trying to figure myself out, So I really appreciate people like you that began with me back then and supported me back then, So it's almost like we've gone full circle, So I absolutely remember like it was yesterday.
Awesome. Yolanda, you there? You ready?
Um, yes. Clever Dolls was founded in 2018, and my inspiration behind the brand was when I did like research and I saw that there isn't much representation in the toy industry for the Black child, especially the Black young girl. And also, like, having taken a, a walk on memory lane from my childhood, and how I was being teased for being dark skinned, and also like how that kind of like caused self esteem issues for me, and it took some time for me to actually own that and to embrace who I am. So I wanted to. I've been a designer since 2003 officially, and I'm also a singer, and I've been designing for amazing women through my journey. But it got to a point that I just felt that yes, I'm designing this, but how much purpose am I bringing into the world, into the space, and am I really a game changer? So I wanted to create a product that young kids of color can be proud of, and a product that can remind them, and that they are beautiful, they are special, and that they not the race or their color, that they have like everything, like in front of them. And I wanted to promote self-acceptance and self-respect and respect of others, and also diversification, because with our country's history, I thought that was also like an important element, because South Africa is so colorful with different races and different cultures. And it, for me, one of my highlights was being able to penetrate that space um, of, or the market, of the non-black or non-color people, and to date, that's my biggest market. And it would be great, obviously, also like for, like for every household, especially like in South Africa, and especially in the black communities, for them to own a doll of color or a black doll, because um, as we know, like child's play, it plays a big role in a child's life as they're growing up, because they look at the toy as their role model. So why not bring a doll or a product that the child can see themselves in terms of the skin tone, the body shape, or the hair and all of that. Yeah. So yeah, that is Louis Vuitton Adults and what it stands for. And my main goal with the brand, or the vision, is to compete with brands like Mattel, and also to be a top black doll brand in the world. You know.
And you will, because it's so awesome to kind of have such dolls. I wish I had it back in my era when I was playing with Barbie dolls. Even
Yeah.
though I didn't suffer on like my skin tone, I've always appreciated my dark skin, but it would have been lovely for like people who are bleaching themselves, to have, because it starts from a young age.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, but
Yeah.
what you're doing is awesome.
Yeah, and I mean,
And
just to quickly add, sorry, like if I look at the four of us right here, we also like have like totally like four different skin tones, and we're all
Yes.
black, and also that's what I wanted to put into the brand, and to also offer different skin tones for the dolls. Yes, I have like some people, they'll be like, yeah, but this doll is too light, it doesn't represent who I am. I mean, no, it doesn't represent us as black people, but I think we're all different. Or they say the dolls are too skinny, because yeah, because it doesn't represent how like African women are. I grew up being skinny. Yes, now I'm fuller figured, for a number of reasons. But the thing is about my dolls, it's not about the body weight and all of that, because each and every person has a different form of body, but um it's just starting somewhere, and
Yes.
being a
Yeah.
small brand, just starting somewhere. And I think that is what people should take along, and actually not focus on, like, does this one have straight hair, does this one have very big afro, or does it have a boy cut, or or braids and all of that, because we are all South Africans, and we are all people of color, and we look at all of us now. This is a perfect representation, you know
100%.
Yes.
yeah.
So, you're not, oh, sorry, together you're up eight.
Um, what inspired the start of my business was me wanting to do what I love, firstly, and wanting to use my unique skills and talents to serve others, to use what I know and have to help other people do better, be better, and show up um, wherever it is, whether it's online, offline, but not just for me to be great, but to help others be great. My business started with a platform called Afroname, which is an online marketplace for brands, for people to find brands made in Africa. And that, again, is just, again, allowing local businesses and brands to reach more people, which again speaks to my talents. And Afro Digital is serving those businesses and helping them show up in a better way. So that's really what inspired me, wanting to do what I love, wanting to use my skills and talents to serve others to be their best selves and to excel and grow and be great. That's it.
That's,
That's
that's great.
so. I want to know about your guys' business challenges. But you can share like one or two, because I want to know from your business challenges, which one or which ones made you a better entrepreneur, and why that specific one? How did that help you grow? How did that make you a better entrepreneur?
That's a very, very good question. And I like what both the ladies said and what inspired them. Very beautiful stories. We're also different, and I think for me the biggest challenge for me is something that Tukela mentioned about getting yourself out there as a business. And I think the second, or maybe the biggest one, may have been struggling to communicate with my potential client, which is something that she's talking about. I watched a few clips of the ladies just before we had the interview. I watched um, both ladies, and I watched how she was telling people about communication, doing an email list. Something as simple as that could make a huge difference for your business. And I think for me, that's what's made me a better person. You get also getting people to communicate on my behalf, because I really, really struggled to communicate with the women that I had identified, as my client, by then my potential client. So I think for me that has been the greatest challenge, and overcoming it, is teaming up, with people. I mean, I have a team now that manages my PR, my marketing. I have an office that manages my communication. But for me, I think that's what made us a better business, and it's made me a better person as well, as far as being a communicator is concerned.
Thank you. Yeah, like I'm also going through the most. My challenges are hectic because I'm starting off. I'm always frustrated, but I am always trying to go on these channels, find out this and I also watch Tukelo's content so I can just get a bit of whatever. So now I have her on the platform. I can actually use that to my advantage and grill her.
You must
Yolanda,
you must bribe
Yolanda,
her when we.
Yolanda, you up next.
Few challenges. When I started, I wanted a specific doll box, and I did my research. I called around in South Africa, in the Netherlands, and yeah, in Europe, and for this doll box, and nobody could make the kind of doll box that I have, because most of my dolls, they have like really big hair, and they wear like big skirts, like, because I wanted the outfits to be more like princessy, but an African princess, and I, at some point, I kind of like almost got discouraged. But then, being a creative, I actually decided, I'm gonna design my own doll box myself and make it myself. And I designed a poster. I printed the posters, and I also went around to the stores to check how, like, the boxes are, of doll boxes. And yeah, I experimented with cereal boxes, and covering them with African print and all of that. But until I found the right one using posters and that. And then with that, I started off that making my doll boxes from posters and putting the doll window and everything. And then I was like in Cape Town again, and I went to a place where I normally print, and I was like, look, if I can make this box, surely you can make my doll box, you know? And yeah, and they were telling me about the measurements of the paper that they use. It's not going to be possible. So me actually sitting down with them and trying to strategize how that can be made out of that, I eventually got um, kind of like the box that I wanted, and this is the box that I use now. And the reason why I'm sharing this is that sometimes as creatives or as business people, we're going to have like these visions and or goals for things that we want to achieve, but some people are, because they don't see it, you know, like in your head, they cannot see it as clear as you are. It doesn't mean that you have to give up, you know. The only thing is to try and communicate your vision to them, so that eventually, you know, it materializes into the product or the service that you want. Okay, so another challenge that I was facing, like everyone else, like in the world, was you know, like the financial stability from COVID-19 and all of that. Because when COVID happened, then I just expanded my business, and I employed like more employees to help with the production process. And then a month later, COVID came, and the struggle was, okay, do I keep my employees? And if I can keep them, like how can I do it? Because with the lockdown issues and all of that, and also like I, you know, I was peddling like, okay, if I take a break for like a year, and you know, what's going to happen with the business as the brand. But then I decided to hang in there. I did lay off some, and also like the ones that I kept, you know, like moved around in terms of like the hours, you know, shorten the hours, so that at least I can still keep um, a big part of my production team, but let them kind of like share um, the salaries, or yeah, for my from my budget, from my salary budget. Yeah, that worked out. And what I'm actually grateful for is that even though people were struggling, not earning income and all of that, we did have, you know, like that orders, those orders that kept us afloat as a business. And now we are back now in full force, and there's growth in sales and more exposure in terms of like where the brand is at. And the challenge that I have at the moment is like, say for instance, we're listed now also with the spa group. Actually, we've been listed for a year, but we cannot put our product at spa because the people that make the decisions, to like the buyers of the shops, they cannot understand that this is a product that is quite needed, because it's a toy brand and all of that, you know. And the main buyer approved the products, but in the stores they don't see that. And I found that yeah, it is a challenge, you know. But um, the good part about this whole situation is that now we listed, and we're supplying CNA stores, nationwide, select stores. And so I guess out of a bad situation comes, you know, like something good, because I didn't really want to focus mainly on the spa listing, though I've been at it for like 2 years and we've been listed for a year now. But yeah, I reached out to CNA, and yeah, so that is, I think, a great milestone for the business. But I just wish that as South Africans, you know, also like as adults, we can actually see, because I think there's a notion that like toys, like people don't think so much of toys because they think it's just a toy, it's gonna break and all of that, but they don't understand the impact, that these dolls can have in a child's growth and our nation as well, and also the fact that the black dolls are a movement, they're an experience, and it's what's needed at this moment. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Again, are you ready?
So you okay?
Yes, yes, I am. Challenges that I faced. So the first one has to be what most people call today self-limiting beliefs. Back in the day, I don't know, it was just not believing in yourself enough. But yeah, so thinking that firstly, I was very shy growing up. So saying I can't talk to people, I can't put myself out there, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. Those types of thoughts and thinkings and things I would say to myself about myself, I think was the first big challenge I had to work towards overcoming because well, a lot of what I do and how I found I best connect with people is talking to people like this in lives, in stories, in video calls, in consultations. So that was the first biggest challenge. And funny, it's one that many people come to me with, saying they're too scared to show up in their videos to share what it is they have to offer with the world. And the only way around it is to just put yourself out there, as scared as you are, with your hands shaking and your lump in your throat, and you just show up and do one thing, commit to doing one thing consistently for some time. For me, it was showing up every week in my Tuesday talks, on video, pre-recorded initially, and then they went to being live, and now it's a mix of both. But that was the one thing I did, and I've been doing that now for over a year, and they've been quite impactful with connecting with people and with just me growing in how I speak and communicate with people. So that was the first thing. The second was me trying to make everything perfect, but which I think most people can relate to as well. We want to put what we're working on building, looking to offer to people in the best way. So we try to make things perfect. And the product that I hope to launch, or I actually did launch, was a membership platform, which completely tanked, by the way. But I spent months just making it perfect, adjusting this, adding that, tweaking this, only to put it out there and find that actually most people don't quite understand. The market isn't quite ready. And I've since learned from that that it's best to just put the simplest version or form of what you want to do out there and get feedback from people so that you can add to what it is you've put out there, but in a way that actually works to serve the people you're looking to help with what you're doing. And then you're making improvements that are aligned with what people actually have said to you and actually want and need versus what you think and assume in your head or with your research that, yeah. So, and then the third and final one, I think, would be just needing to accept that change is a constant that will never stop. Two things that are guaranteed in life are change and death. There's no way you can avoid that. And yeah, so just constant changes in life, in business, and setbacks happening, and learning to not be knocked down or not be too affected or not take those changes and setbacks happening personally, and rather, focusing more on what I can learn from the situation, how I can get back up, adapt, adjust what I'm doing, and just carry on and keep going, find a new way to do what I wanted to do, and focusing on your vision. Having a vision is the one thing that can help you do that. And yeah, those are some challenges that I faced in my business and how I overcame them.
Thank you. Because touching on like that fear of starting something and putting yourself out there, creating the content, like that was one of my struggles. Having to start this whole thing was terrifying for me, because I like to be behind the scenes, give people ideas, do this. But having to put me on there, it was a struggle as well. And the reason why I started this whole thing is I wanted to find out what are entrepreneurs struggling with. So like it was not actually viable to literally go to that person and talk to them. So I thought about how about like I invite them and just have a dope discussion on certain stuff, whatever it may be, but concerning the business. So with having to understand and know your business challenges, I'd like to know how has your business journey been? Myself, are you ready?
Yes.
All right.
How has the journey been?
Yes.
I think fulfilling, rewarding, challenging, um, grilling at times, you know. But I think the thing to always remember is that every situation is just preparing you for your next level. I think for me, I kept recognizing every time I completed something, a task, a goal, something off my vision board, I look back to my previous challenges and recognize that those challenges were preparing me for that next level. So I think the biggest simplest word actually can be the journey has been challenging. We do fall down, but the whole point is not to stay down. I think you've heard from our journeys, our different journeys. Yolanda just mentioned that, trying to get into stores has been, something that really almost knocked her down, but she's gotten good news. And Yolanda, just to um encourage you, Roots Butchery, I wanted to say this. They couldn't get into any malls. They were rejected at first. And now most malls are begging them to come into their stores. So soon, Spa and everybody else, outside of CNA will be begging you to put your dolls on their stands. But I think the journey's just really been, like I said, challenging, but it's helped me grow and it's helped me prepare. And I feel like the current challenges that we're facing as entrepreneurs as well with COVID-19 is preparing us for the next level. I think next year, when we get to the next level, we'll recognize why we had to suffer the way that we've been suffering in the last year and a half or so.
Thank you. Yolanda, you are next.
Yes. Thanks. Okay, so I saw there was a question from one of the YouTube viewers,
Yes, I'll talk
and
about that.
asking about is my business online? Yes, we are selling online on Take a Lot and also different other small online shops. So that has really been helpful. But I think for me as a person or as a creative, because maybe I'm just being subjective. I love to see the dolls in person, because when you see them in person, they are so beautiful. So this is why, like, I just feel that, if they could be just in stores, like nationwide, like, then people can actually see them, and also you can make a choice. You want the light skin doll, or you want the one with braids, or you want this one, then you can just have it there, like the choice at your fingertips. But yes, online presence is really important, and being on marketplaces, so that is really quite helpful as well, because you're on Take a Lot, and also Macro Online, and a number of others, as I've mentioned, and also our website. Yeah. In terms of our journey, I think the journey for me has been really, really, really amazing, because as much as this whole me creating black dolls, it started off as a hobby and as a curiosity, but then with the responses from some friends and people on social media, then I decided, okay, it's time to really launch it as a brand. And it's amazing how on a daily basis, I get messages from strangers, and I also get like my post being shared, or I'm tagged like everywhere, and people actually expressing, how much they love the dolls and what the dolls mean to them. And like this is from every race, like in South Africa, and different genders as well. And so the parents, I can see, like adults really in South Africa, that everyone, like is up, like for the change, and they want to be part of the change, like to make South Africa great, and so I'm really amazed with that, and also to be able to bring the product on an international level, to promote the diversity of our country. For me, it's like really amazing. And because I think we as I think we see so much like what's been happening like in the media. We have like people like maybe like in America and other, yeah, other continents, how they come and see like stuff from our countries, and they steal our ideas, or they celebrate us or whatever. But I think us as a nation, we don't, or we forgot, like how amazing our nation is, and we need to celebrate that every day. And I don't think we have to wait for Heritage Day or Heritage Month to celebrate who we are as South Africans and as Africans, yeah, there's just so much that we can do. But to be part of this journey and to be part of this change, I feel so blessed, even at times as a human, like that I want to give up, and then somebody will pop up and say, oh, I saw this doll, and my daughter loves this doll, or my son loves this doll, and thank you for what you're doing. It's like really encouragement. And I know that me being here, it's not just being in business, it's like just being part of a vision, of you- also like bringing employment in our country. And like instead of being part of the problem, just being part of the solution, and just being a game changer. Yeah, for me it's been amazing.
Nice. You can look Wampula, right?
Why?
Because you're always busy doing something.
Wait, can everybody see though? It's just you that can see, right?
Yeah, when there's a solo screen, only us at the bottom can see.
Oh, because that's why I'm like, listen, I'm sorry, but I guess it's that thing of knowing that I can't be seen. Then it's like, okay, fine, but now I'm just like, oh shit, are you telling me everybody could see me this whole time?
No, I say you
I,
big.
Okay. Um, what was the question again? Business journey. Yes, my business journey. Look, I listened to a lot of audiobooks and read a lot of books about business while I was working. So I worked a full-time job before actually going full on and starting the business. And so before I like was knee deep in books and audiobooks and YouTube videos and all of that. So I knew that starting my own business, though it would give me the freedom to create the life I want to live and wake up to every day, it would also take a hell of a lot more hard work than my job. And I think that's a general misconception most people have. They think they're going to start their own business, they'll have lots of free time to live this awesome life that they want, but that really comes much, much later. So The journey has been hard, you know, as Masako said. I think Yolanda's also experienced it. There are challenges, there are things you have to figure out. You can't really copy and paste somebody else's model, where you are, who you are, what you envision, and bringing that to life takes a lot. Communicating that, you know, like what Yolanda was saying about the boxes, it's these are things that everybody faces, and it's really playing a long game and persevering. I've had times where I wanted to give up and just be like, you know what, let's just go find a job. But then you say like, well, when you get back to it, what are you going to do? You're going to do the same thing anyway. You'll just be doing it for somebody else, and you'll have to play by their rules. So you just kind of have to carry on this journey and road that you're on, which allows you to put your heart into things. So that's really what it's been for me. I think what's really helped me is staying true to my vision, or keeping my vision in mind, because that end goal is what gives me the strength, the motivation. It's that constant reminder, knowing my why, and it keeps me on track. It's easy to have things that pop up that seem great but distract you from where you're ultimately working towards. So I think that's really what my business journey has been. Just looking at, you know, not slaving away in this business, but remembering that you're trying to create a life that you love to live. So you also need to live. You need to make the time to rest, to spend time with people, to travel, to enjoy life. And which is what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks. My life has been a bit chaotic, but you know, for the last 2 weeks, I've been in Nelspruit, in Joburg, in Pretoria, spending time with friends, with family, hence the not so cool background. This wasn't by choice. but the work I've been doing has allowed me to do that, to spend 3 weeks on the road visiting friends and family and spending time with them and reconnecting, you know. And you need to be clear on what it is you ultimately want. And just wanting a successful business isn't good enough. You need to, you know, dig deeper and find out what it is you really want out of life, how you want to live, who you want to be. And for me, that's been about becoming a better person, continuously learning, you know, self development, self improvement. It's being healthy, putting healthy practices in place. Like when Masako mentioned, just what is it, I can't remember what she said when she was reflecting and she saw just how far, her vision board, you know. And for me, it's my journaling, that where you read back a couple of pages, and it's like, oh wow, Kana, you were struggling with that thing. Oh wow, Kana, you were praying for that thing. And you know, it doesn't, when you get what you pray for, it doesn't necessarily look like how you envision or come, you know, like a miracle that just, it's this blessing. It comes in a way that you don't necessarily expect, at a time often much later than you actually wanted or hoped. And but what you want, pray for, and work for, if you keep believing and stay at it, it eventually comes to you, in some shape or form. And yeah, I think things like having vision boards to keep you focused, and having, you know, journaling, reflecting, taking time to look back, and that is also really good. It's necessary in the journey to also, you know, practice gratitude and be grateful for where you're at, because it's a marathon. It's a long game that you're playing. Yeah, most people who are successful reach great heights after 10 years only. So if you're thinking, what, year one you're going to break even, year two you're going to be cashing it in, like maybe you should just do something else, hey. But yeah, that's my journey. That's been my journey.
Yeah, because like, listen, I'm one of those folks. Like in 6 months, how to say it's Mukana? I got to say like yes, you know, not understanding for it. Hey, you have to actually play the long
Yes.
game. And there's so much you need to know and learn and go through. You know, I like
Yep.
for me, I feel like I haven't begun, because I just started. So with that being said, I'd like to know what keeps you guys motivated. Because Sukela mentioned that at some point she wanted to give up. So something there told her like the lapping. So myself take it away.
What keeps me motivated? I think looking back at where I started, you know, motivates me. It shows me that I can go much further, because I mean, the Bible says that we mustn't despise small beginnings, start very, very small. Like you said, I came to do your makeup when you were late, I think it was in 2014, it might have been, so that really motivates me when I look back at how far I've come. It just shows me how much further I can go, and I think a lot of the times on platforms like these, people that are viewing are people that just want to start, people that don't know how to start, where should they start, and I always say start with that little that you have, start where you are. If you've got 100 rand, start with that 100 rand, do something towards your goal. I think we always put up business plans that require like 600,000, and that amount will intimidate you as a person, somebody that hasn't started. Use the 1,000 rand that you have, to pay somebody to do a business plan for you, to buy data, to search for clients. Start with the little that you have. And I think for me, the key thing that I want to leave everyone who's viewing is that God blesses authenticity. I think the world today, there's so much competition because we all want to do the same thing. We all want to look the same. Companies are looking the same. Packages looking the same. Everything is sort of just looking the same. But, if you are authentic and you create a business that is authentic, you will always have clientele with its challenges, of course, but you will always have your target. You will always speak to someone. So I think being authentic is the key thing. But just coming back to answering the question, what keeps me motivated? Just looking at where I started. It encourages me to say, if you can do that in 10 years, imagine what you can do in the next 10. The sky's the limit. As cheesy as that sounds, but the sky really, it's not even the limit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
nice. Okay, thank you. Yolanda, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Um, I liked what Marcelo said that when you have something authentic to offer, then you're bound to have, like a certain clientele, and I think that's a great motivation as well, because for me as well, like, what keeps me motivated is knowing that my brand is unique, even though it's still like growing, and all of that, and also like the difference that it makes in society, that motivates me, like, yeah, um, and also like, like looking at young women, especially women of color, like, that are achieving great things, like, I mean, I've never, like, I would have never thought of being like a content expert, like Tikelo. And I think that's really an amazing career, because that means actually people like me, small businesses like myself, can actually tap into the market to see how we can get help from other businesses, or business owners, like, together. Because what I notice about myself is that, because I know there's a lot of things that I can do, like, with my creativity and also my marketing background and all of that. So I liked the fact that I'm like a one man show, like that can operate as this internationally uh, competitive business. But for me individually, that is not good for me because mentally, physically, and spiritually, it can wear me down. So now I'm at a place that, like Maseko mentioned, that she has her own PR team and all of that. I think now I'm looking into letting go a bit of certain tasks, so that I can just focus on being creative. And yes, running my business, but I'm more passionate about being creative and all of that because that is how I stay relevant as a brand. So now I'm actually motivated to going out there and check which businesses can offer services that can enrich my brand and make my brand more competitive and make it grow. Like I don't have to do my PR. I don't have to do my social media contents and all of that. And I don't have to be a graphic designer. Because I'm not passionate about that. But I needed to start somewhere for this vision to be born. But now that my baby is, like on its I've let go of the training wheels. I think it's now time for me to say, hey, Tigelo, how can you help me with this? Like or yeah, I think I'm motivated now to be able to go out there and ask for help. And because we need to help each other as business owners, especially black owned businesses. Yeah.
Okay, you ready? Mute.
Yes, yes. I'm ready now. Now I'm ready.
Difficult thought.
Um, so the what keeps me motivated when I feel like giving up, there is no motivation when I feel like giving up. If I'm being completely honest, for me, there's no motivation or there's no outside thing that gets me like that flips the switch somehow to make me feel like yes, we're gonna do. No. Habits, I think, are the groundwork. Just it's discipline of I committed to doing XYZ. I need to fulfill my commitment and actually show up. I'm at a friend's house, so with this call, I didn't feel so much like I wanted to join in on this call, but I committed to being here and I committed to connecting with people and sharing who I am. It would have been much easier to cancel and chill on the couch and have talks and tea and coffee with my friend. Just like in the same way, it's much easier for a person to just chill and watch Netflix or Showmax or whatever and catch up on series or a couple of movies instead of reading up on that research that can help you finally get that side hustle or business going. There isn't motivation for doing that stuff. You just have to actually commit and stick to your commitment, not just to people out there, but to yourself and what you said you were going to do. And I think it's taking the things you say to yourself seriously. One thing that I heard, I think the other thing that kind of motivates me, not when I feel like giving up, but just daily, is listening to other women that have succeeded. A lot of I curate my social media. So as much as I spend time on social media platforms, like I spend a lot of time on social media platforms with the nature of what I do, I make sure that the content I consume works to inspire me, works to build me up and reinforce what I'm working towards. So I follow a lot of women that are in my line of work, that are experts, that are at a higher level than what I am, that I can learn from, people who, are maybe not at a higher level, earning multi-million dollar with multi-million dollar businesses, but women that are inspiring, that are funny, that are entertaining, that offer value with what they share, that put their heart in what they do, that actually care. So consuming that, being around that, seeing that, that really motivates me to add to that, because we need more people to do that so more people can be impacted. They do it in their way, and I love and respect that. And I do it in mine. And I've unfollowed, muted, and disconnected from people who make me feel any kind of negative way. So curating what I listen to, what I consume, the content I consume, be it podcasts, on social, or just in person as well. So friends and family around me that are a great support system. Very, they are they've been a key role in me staying motivated, because that friend that says, look at how far you've come, look at what you've done. It's not about the 1,000 people you hoped to connect with by the end of August, but rather the one person yesterday that says you really helped them show up a certain way, or get 100 people on their mailing list. Yeah, so my audience is also a big motivation. The messages that they send, the comments that they leave, I take screenshots of everything. And when I feel down, I do now tap into those screenshots and just say, these are the people I'm showing up for. If I don't feel like, recording those videos and batch creating that content or planning such and such out, these are the people that hold me accountable, that slide into my DMs and say, dude, where have you been? Like, you're supposed to be on video at like 12. And it's that, and I think that that's the result of building a community and actually connecting with people versus just putting stuff out there and not engaging or connecting with people. So that, I think, is my motivation, along with what Masako said about just looking back and reflecting and seeing how far you've come. That you thought you wouldn't get past that hurdle 3 years ago, and you did. So there's nothing that's stopping you from getting through whatever it is that lies in front of you now.
And there's a question for you.
Yes. The question is, I'm a small YouTuber, so I have so much anxiety when I drop my content. I'm curious to know how you deal with the anxiety when you have to put your content out there. I think this speaks to what we kind of touched on at the start of this call, I think, with how people are going to talk anyway. I think a lot of our anxiety comes from the fear of what people are going to say, what people are going to think. Is this good enough? Are people going to like this? Like, actually tap and like it? Are people going to view it? Are people going to share it? Is this going to be a successful post? And I think realizing that that's what's got you feeling anxious is the problem, or is the first thing. So you need to start by asking yourself why you're putting this content out there. Are you looking to impress people? Are you looking to imitate somebody else and hoping to replicate their success? Why are you doing what you're doing? What is your motive? What's motivating you to put the content that you're putting out there? And that answer is what's going to help you work or get past that anxiety. Because if you're putting it out there because you have something you need to get out of you, a message you want to share, then one person hearing that message should be enough. Because you're not putting it out there for 100 people, though that is the aim, but one person hearing it, they could be truly moved by it. That could be what they need to hear at that time to save their lives, to make the change in their lives, and their lives could be transformed. It doesn't matter if 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 people see your thing and absolutely nobody does anything with it, So it's knowing why you're doing what you're doing will help you get to the root of what's causing your anxiety. And for me, because you said you're curious to know how I've dealt with my anxiety, I realized that I was scared that what are people going to think? Who am I to say that, people should do this and this and this? What if this doesn't work for them? what if, somebody comes back and says, actually, I tried this and it didn't work out. And so many things like that. But again, those are self-limiting beliefs, because the truth is I've done it for myself. I've done it for other clients. They've seen success. And there are numerous people who've come back and said that, thank you so much. I referred you to A, B, C, and D, from a small business to a major multi-million rand company that so at all levels, I'm able to help people. So there's really nothing there that says that I can't do it. It's just me being scared of people judging me. And if people judge me, what is that going to change? Nothing, because one person could take something from what I've shared and actually be better. So, am I going to focus on the 10 people that are judging me, who are probably sitting on their dreams and not really doing much themselves? Or am I going to focus on that one or two people who actually took what I said, listened to it, implemented it, and became better because of it? I feel trusting in God and what He's put inside of me, and trusting in my purpose and what I'm meant to do on this planet with my gifts and talents. I need to focus on the one or two people that are going to use what I have to offer and become better people. That's just what I choose to focus on. What you choose to focus on is what you're going to amplify in your mind. If you choose to focus on what people are saying about you behind your back, that list is endless. But if you choose to focus on what people are saying to you and how you're helping people and how what you're putting out there is impacting their lives, that will serve you better. And it takes a lot of training. It takes a lot of inner work. And as much as we're looking to learn a lot, we need to also remember there's a lot we need to unlearn from what we've learned and what we've been raised with as people of color, as just as women. So yeah, I think there's also just that you need to start with what's causing that anxiety and dig a little deeper and figure out how you overcome it. The things we face aren't necessarily there to stop us, but to help us become stronger, as Masako said, so you can ascend to the next level and be equipped to handle what comes with that next level. Hope I answered that question.
Motivational speaker kapoblela. You should actually do that.
I should do what?
Be a motivational speaker.
Oh wow. Not yet. One day. So that's what we do in our consultation course. So it's not just how you can build your online presence and do XYZ, but it's also just speaking through those things, because there are challenges that hold you back before you actually get to doing. So yeah.
So ladies, like this one is specifically for Maseko and Tuken, because there's so much like hoo-ha about makeup, skincare. That's your field, Maseko. And content creation is also a big deal. So what I'd like to know is the do's and don'ts for Maseko. Do's and don'ts. Give us some tips, some hacks, the do's and don'ts of makeup, skincare, and to get low, the do's and don'ts for creating content, whether it's for your business or for your personal page, because everyone wants to have that dope content in their pages or their business. So I'm gonna start with myself.
Hey, my mic is on. Okay, so I think at the beginning of the conversation, you would have picked up the differences between, all of us. Yolanda mentioned how different we are and how hotels are catering for all of us. So for somebody that's very much in the beauty industry, which is your outer appearance, what I'm about to say always shocks people, because I think people assume that just because you're in the beauty industry, you're superficial, which isn't always the case. I honestly believe that beauty is skin deep, and beauty does really lie in the eyes of the beholder. We all know that saying. And my Tip number one has nothing to do with how we look, and I am going to get there to those people who are interested. Is your intake? What are you drinking? It's everything is skin deep. So it goes beyond how we look. It goes beyond the eyebrows, the hair, the lashes, and so on. I think every single thing starts with you. Before I tell you how to look on the outside, I always advise people to check on the inside. We spoke about, Tukela mentioned your why. What is your why? Are you trying to look like Molebogeng, or do you just want to look like yourself? Do you relate to that person that you are looking at in the mirror? I'm sorry to sound a little bit like a motivational speaker, but it really is skin deep. And a skin tip 101 is to drink water. So if you want healthy skin, you've got to drink water. And then coming to the outer appearance, then of course things like routines. You have to keep up habits, because your habits build up your character. That's who you become. So if you have a skin routine that you do daily, stick to it. The popular one, or the easiest one, is the CTM: cleansing, toning, and moisturizing. And I used to do this insert on a show years ago, and we used to do home remedies. So if you also can't afford the things that are on the shelf, guys, you can do masks from your house. So if you, let's say, are struggling with dry skin, let's take a tip for dry skin. Everyone has sugar in their house, and I'm sure everyone has honey. You just mix brown sugar and honey, and you use that as a scrub. So you can also do things at home to work on your skin. And I think for makeup, my makeup tips are generally also say a good face beat, as we call it, or a makeup look. The prerequisite for that is good skin. So again, take care of your skin. Know your skin type. All right. Before you go and buy your foundation, let me lock it at that for the tip. Before you go and buy a foundation, you walk into a store to buy a foundation, because people always struggle with the right shade. People are wearing the wrong shade half the time. It's because when you walk into the store, you don't have your own research and education on what you need for your skin. Because when you buy something OTC, over the counter, they just test you. It takes 2 minutes, and then you walk out, it matches, but there are things called undertones, and your skin tone could have different undertones. So that means the look and the shade of the makeup changes over time. So after 4 hours, you start to look orange. I'm sure some people have picked up on that. So understand your skin type. So if you've got oily skin again, and you want to go buy something as simple as a foundation, and you walk in and you're going to buy an oil-based foundation, guess what's going to happen to you? You are going to become even more oilier. So educate yourself, on your skin, on your needs, on your why you want to look a certain way. But those tips are there to take care of your skin. Drink a lot of water, get enough sleep, and stick to a routine. And then in terms of your foundation and getting the right shade, it usually starts with understanding your skin type. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. For sure, I still need to do my research now, because was fitlha kwa le ko Clicksy o re ke batla foundation ya mamang ebe ba go tshapa fano, and then ya match wa tsamaya.
And the way to
So,
king
yeah.
lebone, that the other issue is o tlo tsamaya wena o le Molebogeng, and you walk into that store, and guess what happens? Yolanda, who is actually the skin expert in the store, she's absent that day, because it's retail. And then they take Tokelo from shoes to stand in for Yolanda. And you walk in, Otestiwake, Tokelo from shoes. That's why you need to know. That's why you need to have your own knowledge and do your own research on your own skin, because you're not too sure what you're going to walk into. And also the smallest shops don't have a big enough budget to train in depth the retailers. So it really goes down to you. You have to do your own research.
Can I tell you now? I've got 3 types of foundations.
Yeah, I believe
so,
you.
Like randomly for that, so you get different people. So I don't know
Yeah.
every time actually I sheba gore ke feng e bereka betere. if I feel like yapama, I go with it, you know. And then I tried another one, maybe last week or the week before, and I
Yeah,
looked very nice. Today, I keep on giving that to it, but yeah, it is what it is.
it happens.
Yeah. So together, you are next.
Okay. Do's and don'ts for content. I would say do be clear on why you're on whatever it is you're on. So why you're looking to create that content. So if it's content, if it's your website, if it's a blog, if it's a TikTok account, YouTube, Instagram, or LinkedIn, whatever it is, be clear on why you're going to create a page on that platform and why you're creating content to put out there. Just that's the solid. Again, be clear on your why, um, be clear on your vision and what you want that content to ultimately help you do, build, create, get to, because that'll make things easier in finding your way there, making sure you're creating the right type of content to help you reach your objectives. Okay. And then the second do would be being strategic and offering value with the content that you're putting out there. And it doesn't have to be educating, teaching, or as serious as what I do, maybe, but you could educate, but you could entertain people. You could encourage people. It's not always motivational quotes, but simply sharing your story, sharing your journey, sharing how you do things, what you did to overcome a certain hurdle you experienced. So whatever content you share, you need to be strategic by um, by so if you want to position yourself as a beauty expert or as someone who's knowledgeable in beauty, say, you need to share content that shows that helps people with their beauty problems or their skincare problems. You need to share your knowledge and expertise with people. You need to be a source of information, valuable information, insights that can help them with whatever problems, pain points, entertaining beauty tutorials, help them in some way. So you need to offer value with your content. Okay. This can be in fashion, in travel, in beauty, in food, in business, whatever it is. And then I think the third one would be just being yourself. Okay. It's hard enough plucking up the courage to show up in front of people. You don't want to make it harder for yourself by pretending to be someone you're not. The easiest way to flow and show up and stay consistent and make showing up easier for yourself is by being yourself, by sharing your personality, those corny jokes that you might have, your whatever it is, your nuances, who you are, share that with people. Share who you are with people. You don't have to share your whole life with people, but inject your personality and who you are into whatever it is you're doing and the content that you're creating. If you're silly, be silly. If you're a bit of a nerd, then show that side of yourself. Don't try to be somebody you're not. That's the first don't. Don't try to be someone you're not. You're created unique, all that stuff. So just honor who you were created to be by being who you are. And I would also say don't overcommit. There are a lot of people out there that say you need to post 3 times a day. You need to be on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and do all these many, many things. And it's harder to be consistent for a long time if you've overcommitted yourself and stretched yourself too thin. So don't make the mistake of overcommitting. Make sure you can cast your net wide and see which platforms work best for you and the people you're looking to attract. Then find one or two that work best for you and the people you're looking to connect with, and focus your efforts on those platforms, especially when you're starting out and you're small and you have limited resources. I think the mistake we make is thinking that we can do it all and taking on too much, especially if you're a one-man show. If there's just two of you, you're better off using or narrowing your efforts, doing fewer things, and putting in more and offering more value, putting in more time into offering better quality content and showing up more consistently or in a more meaningful way, versus just trying to be everywhere and trying to be everything to everyone. Yeah, so those are
Thank
my
you
do's and
so
don'ts.
much. Um, so there's a question I asked the ladies last week about okay, let me read out the questions for you guys. So being a woman is typically associated with being strong and resilient, always being required to be strong and persevere through it all. So how has that idea of being strong affected your ability to cope under pressure? Maseko,
Can
can you
I
share
start?
some light?
Oh, okay.
Should I go first?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I know that I myself, I think what I'm enjoying about today's conversation is that we are not rehearsed. Everyone is just coming across as so honest, and I myself haven't been strong all the time. I don't think anyone can be strong all the time. I mean, it's a principle, and I believe in God, and God mentions weakness in the Bible. There's weakness in the Bible. So, he says that he's strong when we are weak. I think the thing that's prevalent today is depression, because we always want to put on a front, even when we are not okay, and somebody very wise once said that it's okay not to be okay, and somebody else that I know also once said, no, it's not okay to not be okay. But I believe in breaks, I believe in pauses, and I feel like the beginning of COVID-19 for me last year, when the president said, we're going into a 21-day lockdown, I took that time to gather myself again, because I honestly think that strength is admitting where you are weak, and if you can admit your cons or your weaknesses, then you can better yourself as a person, so I think it's sad that yes, women are always associated with strength, because strength to some people means staying in an abusive relationship, and that is not strength, that is not strength. That is you sending yourself to an early grave, so strength is associated with sometimes to the wrong things. There's been so many times where we've wanted to portray strength, but it would be a bad decision, so I don't think that you should be strong all the time, when you feel like you're not strong. The only issue is, I think Tokela will agree with me, because she said you don't have to be TikTok everywhere. The thing is, you always want to prove to people that you're okay. If you're not okay, take a pause, take a hiatus, get off social media, so that you're not telling people too much of your business. Because that, guys, especially as an entrepreneur, I think all of us here can agree, we are sort of a face, the face of our businesses, and people do look up to us for motivation, inspiration. And if you tomorrow are not okay and you're tweeting and writing negativity, then you also are losing your clients, your potential clients, or the young people that you inspire, so you don't always have to be strong. And when you're not, get off social media. You're going to be sane. And I think also the biggest example again is COVID-19. When it first came, when you switched on the television, radio, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everyone. And I think some people became sick because of their minds, because we saw this thing all the time. I even 5 times at some point thought I had COVID, because that is what the mind does. It comes in where you're a little bit weak, and then we have fed this thing so much, So I decided to take a break, so you don't have to be strong all the time. When you're not okay, take a break, guys. Take a break. We all take breaks. I think the ladies are going to agree with me.
Yeah, just to like agree on what you just said, Masejo, like I know like with me, um so I came out about my HIV status like I think like a year or so, or a few months after I was diagnosed. I was diagnosed in 98, so this year is like 23 years that I'm HIV positive. And I mean, like as much as at that time I appreciated kind of like getting a heads up that hey, you need to take care of yourself, you know, like getting a whole like second chance and all of that. But now I feel that all these years I started not living for myself, I started living for people because I had something to prove, you know, that I can be healthy, successful. I can have children when I'm like HIV positive, so that I can to diffuse all the um, stigmas and all of that that are associated with being HIV positive. And then I kind of like forgot about myself, you know, and also in terms of like how to deal with like abuse and challenges like in my life and all of that, because I needed to be strong, because everyone says, oh gosh, you don't look like you have HIV, like you're so strong, we don't know how you do it, you know, like you keep on pushing and all of that. And then like I know like sometimes if there's a stressful situation, then I think like okay, I cannot do this, like maybe I'm gonna work like for 2 weeks, and then after 2 weeks I'm gonna find like a day where I can just be depressed, you know, like I scheduled everything because I needed to be perfect and to be strong for to make other people feel happy about themselves, you know. And I mean, like fast forward to now, like with COVID and all of that, because like then I had a bit of more time in my hands and stuff, and time to reflect, and then my body started saying hello, like remember how you put everything on pause? Now it's time for you to, you know, like to acknowledge the body. And then I started suffering from PTSD, you know, like I'm being treated now for PTSD. And I mean, there were like scary times that like I'm driving and then my whole body stops working, you know, whilst driving. I cannot move, I cannot do anything, you know. And I've had like psychotic events, and that were like scary, you know, like kind of like having out of body experiences. And with the counseling, and I learned that like I need to listen to myself, allow myself to be weak if that's how people will see it, you know, allow myself to cry when that is happening, and to actually say like, damn, you know, like things are just not great right now, you know. And I think I'm actually quite lucky and blessed that I'm like here, sitting here in front of you, and I can actually talk about this, because some other people don't have that opportunity, you know. And me being here is not um just a reflection of me being strong. It's just like a wake up call that it's okay not to be perfect. You know, I wrote a song like Perfectly Imperfect, you know. And it's, for me, I'm quite good at like motivating other people, like in what I write in my songs and all of that. But I have to remind myself that I'm actually not writing for other people, I'm writing for myself, you know. When I'm losing my sanity, when I feeling like I cannot do it for myself, you know, and all of that. Because yeah, because sometimes, most of the time, we forget to put us first, because we're scared of what are people gonna think. Or like, you know, like some people said, okay, you need to be a role model and you need to be strong and all of that. But it's okay, we're human, you know. And just because we have vulnerability, it doesn't mean that we are weak. It just means that we're putting ourselves first and dealing with the issue, whatever challenges we're going through our own paces and not on anyone else's timeline, and all of that. Because at the end of the day, the people that we're trying to make happy, they like look at that and like, oh, they just move on, with their lives, and then we're sitting like, going schizo on our own. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true.
Hmm.
TK.
Oh, yes. That is so true. That is so true. I think the idea of being strong made me never want to. I've struggled with being vulnerable. I've struggled with admitting, that I'm struggling with XYZ. Asking for help was something that was difficult for me, especially very early on. And just doing everything yourself, um, and struggling to ask for help, to delegate when you do have a team, to step back and allow people to do things for you. So I'd say that it affected me. Being strong affected me because I felt I had to, like the ladies have said, I agree with everything that has been said, that you feel like you have to do everything, you have to be perfect, you can't and you know be vulnerable, you can't really admit that you're not able to do XYZ, and you can't. That's just the thing. We grew up seeing grandmothers, aunts, mothers do everything. I was raised by a single mother, so she did everything, and that was perfectly normal. So it's and those are just some of the things I think we need to unlearn, that you can't always be strong for everyone, you can't always do everything for everyone, you can't always please everyone, you can't always, that you are human too, and you have feelings, and even the negative, or those that are viewed negatively, are normal, and they're okay. There is a place for you to feel like you need to step away and take a break and stop with social, or just disconnect from people. Social isn't just Instagram and TikTok. It's also WhatsApp and those family WhatsApp groups, and them being constantly in your ear. So it's also creating that distance and just spending time alone for the weekend, and not speaking to anyone, and just listening to your thoughts, connecting with God, like reading, feeding yourself, doing things that make you laugh, and all of that. So I think it's just that was the thing for me. That's what helped me cope better under pressure, admitting that uh, I'm not feeling very strong, and leaning on the people nearest to me, um, and taking time out to figure things out. Yeah.
Nice, nice, baby. So, in closing, I'd like you to give like advice to aspiring entrepreneurs and share your socials where people can find you as well. So, Masato, you're up next.
Okay, I think for me, ladies, it's been such a beautiful conversation, and I myself am inspired. So I can't imagine about, the people that are viewing and that are joining us today. I think for me, the key thing is you have picked up how honest we've been. There's a preconceived notion or a misconception about entrepreneurship. In the beginning, I spoke about wanting financial freedom and freedom of time. That only comes after a while. Don't we honestly do only put out the end result most of the time. We put out the end product. Yolanda didn't share the time when she was not finding the box, she was not doing her own things. She posted this beautiful doll that people are now buying online and CNN and so on. But don't buy into the misconception that it is an easy journey. It isn't. And also it takes time, so if you're not a patient person, then you're not going to be a very good entrepreneur. You've got to be very, very patient. And again, what I've mentioned earlier is authenticity. People buy into Masejo before they buy into chic beauty. I have put Masejo into my business. I don't operate like so and so. I came up with an idea because I saw an issue, with me. So authenticity is very, very key. And to be authentic just means you don't match anything else, undisputed. There's no one like you, so authenticity is very, very key. And start with what you have, the little bit that you have. Start with it. The trick is always to start. That's the most difficult part, because once you think of an idea, bringing it to life is one thing. Writing it down is putting down a business plan or a vision. But then transforming or translating your vision from a written vision into an actual, tangible, and something that you can sell is the challenge. So, and also take breaks every now and then. You are human. I think for me, that's the one thing that I've learned in the last 2 years, is that Masako, you're human and it's okay. And you're not for everyone. So don't try and please everybody, and it's been a great platform, ladies. It is such an honor to meet you guys. And for our viewers also, you can find me on Facebook. Still share our handles, just my name and my surname, Masego Kunupi, as you see it on Instagram, just at Masego_SA. Twitter is the same. Otherwise, just Google me. Then you'll find everything that you know. Google my name and surname, and you'll be good.
Thank you, Yolanda.
Hi, can I go? My laptop charger is stuck somewhere, and I see my battery is like going like really flat. Thank you so much, Mo, for this opportunity and for having these amazing ladies on the same panel. And I've absolutely learned a lot, and I'm inspired. Yeah, thank you for all that you've shared, ladies. And my advice is. When you want to start a business, it has to first start with a vision, and there has to be passion, and you have to be geared up to persevere, because as the panelists have mentioned, that running a business is not child's play. There's going to be a lot of challenges coming away, and that also you need to be prepared for those challenges. And for me, what helped me with my business is doing a lot of research and read about on inspiring content, and try to match all of that I've researched and read and to my vision, and how I can have my own authentic brand. So yeah, so the other ladies have also shared that one needs to have an authentic idea, brand, or like yeah, a service that they're offering. And for me, I think research is really great start, because with that you cannot go wrong, and that research is going to help you when you are faced with challenges along the way, to know how to tackle them. And yeah, thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Stella, you're up next.
Okay. Um, well, I think how the ladies have summed it up is amazingly. Um, yeah. So I would simply like to add that be clear on what makes you different. There, what you're offering might not be new, but who you are and how you envision what you're looking to offer is possibly what makes what you're doing unique. And I think you need to make clear to people what it is that's different about what you're doing. So the first thing is finding your key differentiator. Okay. And the next thing I would say, make sure that there's actually a market for what you're looking to put out there. So you might have sound equipment, and hiring that out could be a great business opportunity or a great business idea. But how many other people are doing the same thing you're doing? And what is it that you're going to do that'll be different from everybody else? Your differentiator will help position you and help you stand out in the market, but you need to know just how much of that market is out there. How many people are actually looking to hire out that sound equipment, and how often? Because you need to know that there is a viable gap and space in the market that will allow you to be successful, establish your business, and scale it in the long run. I think your passion, what you love, is a great thing that'll guide you. So try not to look too much at what other people are doing, but rather look within yourself, look to improve yourself and become a better version of yourself. Um, and also help others become better. I really loved how Yolanda was sharing just, her dolls and the just what we didn't grow up with. Dolls that looked like us, that dressed like us, that had hair like us. I think the hair one was the biggest one because they might have had different shades, but they all had super straight Barbie hair, which made us dislike our curls and natural voluminous hair. So look at things like that and don't be scared to inject your personality into things and to be different. For a long time, I didn't want to be different. I didn't want to stand out. And I think a lot of people struggle with that, but it's important to stay true to who you are. Being authentic is a message we've heard consistently. Persevering, staying true to your voice, putting yourself out there, highlighting the value of what you're offering to people is also important so that they know what's in it for them. If you're looking to sell something, that's the best way to sell, to make sure that the people that see your products clearly and instantly know what they will gain from purchasing, because we buy stuff for our own personal needs and benefits. Yeah, I'm Tokelo Motsepe. As you can see my name there. And that's that's my handle on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Just type that in there and look for the girl with the afro, or it's the black and white picture with the girl with the fro, basically. But I'm mostly active on Instagram. Yeah. So if you want to learn more about content creation, online business building your presence online, all of that good stuff, that's where you'll find me. I'm always there dishing out the goods. Don't hold back at all. And I'm hoping to hear from you, Yolanda, booking a discovery call so I can help you with your business and anybody else that is watching.
Thank you so much, lady.
Oh. Thank you for having me, by the way.
It
didn't
was
say
a
that.
pleasure having you guys onto the platform. I learned so much as well, and you'll be definitely hearing from me. But before we
Yay.
leave, I want to take a quick picture, like it's for content. Content is big. um. Okay, yeah. So I got my picture. So I'd like to say thank you to everyone who joined in, and thank you to you guys for joining in and having a conversation with me and chopping it up, all things business. You know what I mean? And guys, please do subscribe to my channel, like my page. It really helps a lot, even though it's moving slowly, but baby steps, I'm getting there. And next week I'm hosting another one with ladies who are around my hood, and we also gonna be chopping it up. And thanks to everyone.
Thank you.